think they're going to sign you to a 3-year deal. But you can, at the end of the season, if an NFL team wants you, you can go into the NFL. There's an onus on winning. You get a bonus. So let's say you play a game, you get 1,086 as your base salary. These guys are actually getting paid during mini camp, so that's a good thing. 1,086, but we got to take taxes out of that. And then you have your, if you get 1,600 if you win the game. All right, and then you also get a 22. If you get activated, and then you get a $2,200 bonus if you win the game.
Right.
So there's an onus on winning, and if you're on a lousy team, you're gonna make 55,000. If you're on a good team, and you win the whole thing, you make $100,000. So that, to me, that's decent money. I think you're going to get a lot of young guys that are tweeners. We'll talk a little bit about the numbers here, because Oliver, they asked Oliver Luck in the interview whether he believed he had the top 560 players that are not in the NFL. And I would say right now, there were 600 guys that were on practice rosters this year. All right, and a good portion of those are guys were in NFL camps in late August, and some that were cut recently off NFL practice squads. Okay, so that tells personnel guys like Daryl Johnson and Joey Quicksdale that they're leaning towards more players that are entering their prime than players who potentially no longer in their prime. Okay, they're not going to bring in guys like Johnny Manziel. They're not going to bring in guys like Colin Kaepernick. In fact, I like the fact that Moose actually spoke up and said he didn't think that Manziel was that good a professional quarterback. So the trained eyes, we kind of know what's going on out there.
Right.
And they have a business model where we're going to get young kids that are hungry, that want to play football and put on a good show, and they know they're going to make a good living. And you're going to have some veteran guys that, were considering playing in the league, that were NFL veterans for 3 or 4 years, and are going to decide not to play in this league because the money's not good enough, and they're just going to go ahead and retire. So, I just think that dynamic has changed considerably over what we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think to me, it's actually an improvement. Now, I know there were some players that dropped out because they thought the salary was too low and didn't think it was worth their while. Well, that's fine. If they don't feel like they were getting paid enough or they felt that they were deceived, let them go on and resume their post-football career. But I think the XFL actually gets the payroll right this time. I really do. And yes, there's nothing wrong with going with younger guys and hungry guys that are looking for that break, and it's okay that they have a chance to get out of it after 1 year if an NFL opportunity takes place. Now, I know that the XFL blocked the Detroit Lions from going after Josh Johnson, I believe. I still found that hard to believe they would do that, but they need a few proven quarterbacks, then so be it. There's enough quarterbacks out there, it really won't make any difference anyhow. So,
well, I'll tell you really what's going on here, okay? They had a draft. They had a XFL draft. 20 of the players that got drafted got signed NFL contracts right after that draft. Okay? So the NFL feels a little threatened by this league. All right? Then you have another 600 guys that have been in training camps, that have been released, that were on developmental rosters. They're sitting on the fence right now, deciding whether they're going to play in this league or not. Okay? There were 864 players that didn't make NFL rosters or practice squads that were cut by NFL teams on August 31st. Of those 864, over 2 of them were drafted by XFL teams. That still leaves 600 players on the bridge, we'll call it, between the NFL and the XFL. So players who are still holding out hopes of sneaking onto an NFL rosters are not considering or entertaining any other league opportunities. But the makeup of these rosters consists of veteran players that have been out of the NFL for a year or more. Their practice and squad eligibility has run out. So they've exhausted their NFL options and decided to take a look at an alternative league. But being a first-year league is very difficult, so they're basically going to be very prudent in the way they spend their money. All right, and they're going to have to give the XFL a lot of credit because they've convinced some players, guys like Cardell Jones, Josh Johnson, and Landry Jones, to join the league. All right, and one or two of those guys have been picked up. I remember Josh got drafted, and then he was signed, I believe, by the Redskins the following day. So there's enough players out there, but whether or not they have the top 560 right now is a question of debate because of those, we'll say, 200 to 600 players are sitting on the fence. Now, here's another thing that's really, really important. Next week, they're going to have a discussion about drafting seniors in college that have finished their eligibility. So they're going to have another draft, a supplemental draft. And then they're going to allow, I believe, after the supplemental draft, they're going to allow some of the teams to bring in 4 players a day of their own choosing. So this is a work in progress. So we could see the dynamic changing dramatically over the next several weeks. Because if they start bringing in college players, they're in shape, and they want to play and they're hungry, and they would probably die for the opportunity to play for $55,000 plus and try to play their way into the National Football League.
Well,
so, like I said before, this is a work in progress.
There's so many good college programs beyond the FBS, Bill. I mean, you got FCS, and then you have Division 2 and 3. I mean, and they meet the criteria. You're talking about hungry guys, younger guys. There's enough good players out there that there's so many hidden gems in a lot of these schools, not limited to just a lot of the power, well-known schools. So, interesting stuff. All right, let's go on to sleep apnea, Bill. I know you're passionate about this one.
Well, I just went up to see Dr. Sug this past week. I had some work done on my teeth. I've been up to see him over the last 7 or 8 years. I exclusively work. He handles all the NFL players. In fact, when you pull up to his office up in Dallas, Wheatland Dental, on the outside, he basically has a big sign, and it says NFL Players Association. They also have an alliance that's run by one of the offensive linemen from the Cowboys. His name escapes me right now. I actually played against him when he was a rookie for the Express. There was Tony Dorsett was on the marquee, Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith. So Dr. Silk works with all these guys. So when you come into his lobby of his dental program, all right, you sit there, and while you're waiting for the dentist to come out and see you, you watch, there's videos there, and they talk about sleep apnea. And there has been a lot of development lately about sleep apnea. And I was diagnosed with it a while back when they gave me basically what amounts to a mouthpiece to sleep with. I took it, and the idea behind it is to open up the jaw area so that you get more oxygen going through your throat down to your lungs, which helps you get a deeper sleep. And also, from what I understand now, there have been recent studies that it's tied to dementia. All right, so the more air that you can pump into your lungs while you're sleeping probably slows down the advent of oxygen to the brain and dementia. So basically what I did is I ran into his expert who worked on the crown, putting in the crown in my mouth, and we talked about it, and I'm basically going to go back up there on the 31st again. And they're going to refit the device they gave me because my teeth have moved a little bit. And I'm going to start using that little retainer, we'll call it a little retainer, at night and see if there's a difference. I just, it's a pretty expensive process too. Some of the insurance is covered, like the HMOs don't cover it, and the PPO does cover it. So I'm sitting back and I just, retired, so I'm making transitions into insurance. So I'm kind of navigating this thing through. And like I said before, I'm one of the older guys. I've taught the NFL a lot, Players Association a lot about some of the things that they should have thought about a long time ago. We now have a dental program. And a lot of the problems that the players are having are with dental and also sleep apnea, particularly because these players are getting so large that, they're dying young, and a lot of it has to do with things like they have sleep apnea. So if we're able to identify this stuff a lot earlier, and there's a lot more developments in sleep apnea over the last decade, which is what my situation is right now. I'm going to jump on board a little bit and take this a little bit more seriously because they're starting to find out a lot more lately over the last few years about sleep apnea, and they're making it a lot easier to test now with some devices that they didn't have a few years ago. And so I'm going to do the whole process all over again. I'm going to go back up there and have them take a look at my mouthpiece. They may make an adjustment on it. If it's too far gone, then I'm going to go through the entire process again of me measure to find out how bad my sleep apnea is, and have them fit me for a mouthpiece. But what I'll probably have to do is switch insurances so they'll cover it because it runs about $8,500. I was really shocked at how expensive it is, the whole procedure. So I'm in good shape right now, but this is what we're going to be dealing with moving forward with a lot of players. Is we're going to be starting to diagnose this stuff a lot earlier with these guys and try to pinpoint it now, so we don't have situations where players are having serious issues with snoring and not pumping enough oxygen in their lungs. And the offensive and defensive linemen are getting so large now that this is almost a necessity.
Well, I actually had sleep apnea, and I did have a sleep study that validated that I had it. And before it was actually officially diagnosed, I was in the hospital for like 5 days, and the nurse says, I can't officially diagnose anything, but if there's anybody that has sleep apnea, you definitely have it. You ought to have it checked out. Lo and behold, the sleep study confirmed it. I use a CPAP, don't have a problem with it. I've acclimated to the equipment where I get comfortable with the tube in there. And you know what? It does help in terms of my breathing. I'm a lot more comfortable at night with it. Does it take a little time to acclimate to the CPAP? Yeah. But tell you what, Bill, I wouldn't go without it for sure. It's something that...
When you say CPAP, Scott, explain what that is to me and also the audience. Is that the air hose?
Yep.
Like the thing you put to your nostrils at night?
Well, I don't use that one, Bill. I have the mask that covers my whole mouth where I breathe into the machine and the air comes into it. You turn a machine on, though, that's activated, and then once the oxygen kicks in, you're basically breathing in air is what you're doing so that you're able to get that air through your to the brain and all that.
Is it a mouthpiece, though, that goes to your nose?
No. Well, they've got one that
like
they
an
use.
Mask, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, Bill, they have one that does go through the nose. I do not use that one. There's different variations of it is what there are. I use where you actually put the mask on, and then the hose is connected to the mask, which is connected to the machine.
Okay.
And the mask covers my mouth is what it does. And nose. Okay. Yeah, that I wouldn't live without it, Bill. Let me tell you, it helps.
Did you notice a big difference after a few weeks of using it?
In my case, I really did. Anybody that has sleep apnea, I would strongly recommend a CPAP machine. I don't know what the retainers are or what tests you're going through, but for me, the mask that covers up the nose and the mouth helps me out. It's an individual thing.
Scott, when they tested you, did they just basically have you sleep overnight with basically a little hose that you kind of like put to your nostrils, and you feel like you should take them to your cheeks, and you just breathe in for 8 to 10 hours while you're sleeping, and you pack and you send it away, and then they come back and tell you whether you have sleep apnea or not? Is that what you did to find out whether you had sleep apnea when they tested you?
Well, I had a bunch of wires that were connected to my body that also went ahead and helped out. And you know what? My wife, Candy, is right next to me. She'll probably give you an overview and tell you what I went through. She certainly loved taking pictures with me. So, Candy, Morgan Roth joins the program talking with Bill Winters as we talk about sleep apnea.
Hi, Bill, and hi, audience.
Hey.
Basically, when he had his sleep study test, they hooked up all kinds of little patches with electrode to monitor his movements, anywhere from his legs to his arms, on his chest, onto his head, to make sure, like if he had restless, leg syndrome or something like that. They did a complete study of what movements, how often he stopped breathing, during the night, and he was in